Good morning, everybody. It's Jill here from Fig Jam. Just thought I'd jump on and talk a little bit about paraffin wax. Now, I've read up a lot about paraffin wax versus soy wax and the different types of soy. I've got soy wax that I've been using for, container candles like this one here. This is a container, so this has got soy container wax in it. The top freestanding piece I made with a mix of paraffin and soy, so it's a little bit tougher. But the thing that I wanted to talk about was this week I ordered a paraffin wax from Heirloom, and they dispatch the stuff really quickly, and the quality of their goods is really good. I've used it for my soap making as well. And so when the box arrived, all the other soy waxes that I've ordered come in big bags, and they're all soft pellet type products. So when this arrived, I've opened up the box, got out all my other goodies, and inside it is this really large slab of paraffin wax, really, 5 kilo slab. And I've looked at it, and I could just see by looking, I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, how am I going to actually break this up to boil it, put it into a double boiler scenario? Because I looked at it, it's a huge slab. So spoke to Heirloom. They gave me some interesting ideas, like smashing it with a rock, or putting it up against a fence and dropping a rock on it, and all sorts of interesting things. Anyway, I started to think about it, and I looked at the size of it, and I thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'll check. I've got an old pillowcase here. So the wax was still inside its plastic bag, and it's the same size almost as a pillowcase. So standard pillowcase. So I slid it inside there, and I went outside to where we have a concrete path, and I dropped it from a great height, because Heirloom said once you sort of whack it or bang it or whatever, it will start to shatter. And I thought, I don't fancy chucking rocks at things. So anyway, I dropped this pillowcase from a great height, and I could hear this clanging sound when it hit the ground, and I took a look, and I was really like, okay, this worked really well. So I then picked it up and banged it a few more times, because obviously keeping it inside the pillowcase means you keep it clean too. So now I have chunks like this inside this pillowcase. So, there's smaller pieces and some really big pieces too, which are still too big for me to break down. So I've still got some large pieces left, but what I'm going to do now with this is leave it inside the pillowcase. But I have a meat tenderizer type hammer, and I'm going to take this outside and lay it kind of sit so that the bag's flat on the ground again, and bang it with the meat hammer. Now, if that doesn't shatter some of the large pieces, I will just drop it from a great height again. So it makes it much more usable, because the jugs you put your wax in, if you're making 1 or 2 candles at a time, or even when you're making them, you see people have the big wax melters. This big slab would not have even fitted in one of those, so you need to be able to break it down. So my advice would be, I found it worked exceptionally well for me, is put your big bag of wax inside a pillowcase, drop it on concrete or bitumen, anything that's a really hard surface, not on a patio, not on a wooden patio or anything like that, but out on concrete, and it will shatter it. And then as you keep dropping it, it shatters it even more, and you'll get more manageable chunks to use. So it's a bit more difficult than using the soy wax, which comes out of a bag and you just scoop it out. Works really well. That's my advice for breaking up a very large piece of paraffin wax into smallable, manageable chunks, is you actually drop it from a great height, and it stays clean inside a pillowcase. Whereas, if you take it out and you start banging at it, it is like rock hard. So, which is what paraffin wax is. So anyway, hopefully somebody finds that useful. You know, gave me a giggle to be out there dropping this bag from a great height, but it certainly worked. And I used it last night. I made a couple of pillars. This is the kind of black, another pillar. I put some gold on that one, but the black bubble kind of is a blacky grey. Quite happy, but I really like I made a rose as well. I'm happy with that, with a bit of gold on it. I will put a hole through the centre of that and mount that into a jar with container wax. But yeah, so it turned out okay. So yeah, like I said, Heirloom are a really good company to deal with here in Australia. So anyway, there you go. That's what you do with your pillar wax if you need to break it up. Worked for me. I'm sure it'll work for you. Hope you have a good day. And cheers from Jill.